going from fall to spring? What did you accomplish? What do you want to accomplish early in these January practices?
Well, the fall was, like you would imagine, somewhat seamless with, so many kids returning, especially position player wise. But, the biggest thing I think for the next 3 weeks, and like including the weekend that we just got through, is just figuring out the rotation, figuring out, the roles for the pitchers. And it looks like, Will be the Friday night guy, but, who's going to follow him on Saturday, Sunday? What are the roles going to be in the bullpen? Who looks to maybe be that Tuesday night starter? And I think those are things that we're trying to answer over the next few weeks.
No, guys don't sign, I guess, as pitchers looking to be middle relief. What do you think that?
Well, yeah, that's a good point.
What do you think, Will? What was the biggest thing he learned in that role?
Well, I think your point is correct. I mean, most of the times, and Coach Lafferty, our recruiting coordinator, would I think agree, where you sign guys to be weekend guys, but sometimes when they get here, they're not quite ready for that. But Will got off to a great start, had a great freshman year, and had a start or two on the weekend for us as a freshman. Had a few midweek starts, but kind of found his niche in the bullpen. Last year, I think we had a really good staff, and when you look at MacArthur, who returned from the year before, of course Rollison, a first rounder, and then Feigl, I thought really came into his own in his 4th year here. So it was one of those where he kind of got pushed out and back to the bullpen. But I don't think there's ever been a time where we didn't think Will would eventually be a weekend guy here.
He mentioned stretching out to be a starter. He's really developed his secondary stuff, particularly his changeup. Have you been pleased with how that's come along, and kind of what have you seen?
Yeah, and I think both. What we worked really hard on in the fall was the curveball. We put the slider away for a little bit and tried to get a breaking ball with a little more depth. Last year's slider was too inconsistent. But one of the things out of the bullpen, sometimes it's tough to use 3 pitches. Sometimes it's tough to just work that many pitches into your arsenal. As a starter, a lot of times it's necessary. Certainly it's an advantage. As you face the hitters, multiple times.
With the other guys working behind Will, I know it's early in the spring, but have you seen guys emerge or maybe improve from the
emerge
fall?
Is tough.
Yeah.
We've been out there one day, but Houston, I thought pitched excellent. The first time out, I think he struck out 5 of the 6 hitters that he faced, or 5 of the 6 outs, and really dominant stuff. And big fastball like he's always had, and threw an excellent changeup. But Gunnar Hoagland had the second best fall next to Will, and he certainly put himself in position to be a weekend starter as well. Zach Phillips, who's maybe his statistical numbers weren't as good as the other guys in the fall, but I think if he has most hitters, they may walk away saying he's got the best stuff of anybody. And so when you look at those guys, I think also Jordan Fowler and others, I think it's a little early, but there's some names for you at least that are in the running for it.
When you move from those reliever positions into a starting role, obviously you come in relief, and you're oftentimes in like high leverage, high pressure situations. What can those guys learn from being in those high pressure situations to push through now in the starting role?
Well, first I think there's probably, it's probably more for you guys to write about than I think, that I think our angst about anybody going from the bullpen to starter or vice versa. They've all done it. If they pitched, even in high school, if they were a starting pitcher, maybe in summer ball, they came out of the bullpen at some point, and it probably is a bigger transition from the starting role to a reliever, because most of these guys all started, if not all of them, in high school. So, but back to your question as far as the pen, I think especially as a young guy to come out of the pen and really high stress situations and pitching in front of 10,000, being on the biggest stage in college baseball in the SEC, certainly it'll make you grow up in a hurry.